Hello everyone, this is General Hand Grenade. Welcome to the Lion's Den in Prince George, British Columbia. Well, you can see what we're doing here. We are turning the clock back here in the Lion's Den this weekend. We are lucky enough to be doing a play test for Global War 1914. It's a game by Historical Board Gaming. They're hoping to have it out, I'm guessing early next year, but I don't know, right? And when you're thinking about the pandemic that's going on and the problems that we're having with the 36 game, then you can, like, it's take it for what it is, right? But it's getting close. This is not final art, this map. This is kind of like the old map that I had a year ago, but closer to the 1936 map as far as territories go. Like all the sea zones are the same, you know what I mean? But then there's a lot of territories that are different, like Saudi Arabia here, for instance. Instead of being one big territory or a couple of them, it's a whole bunch of Arab states, and you see there's camels here. So if you're a Global War 1936 player, you are going to recognize this game. Oops, sorry about that, guys. Anyway, you're going to recognize this game. Like, infantry are still infantry. They cost the same, they attack the same, they defend the same. You know, our artillery bumps them up, and the ships are similar. Like a dreadnought's like a battleship, right? And pre-dreadnought's like a battle cruiser. Transports are transports, subs are subs, coastal subs are coastal subs. The torpedo boat destroyers would act like a destroyer in 1936 game. And then the planes, that's something that's different in this game. The seaplanes are the same. They do exactly the same thing. But in this game, you're going to have fighters, and you're going to have strategic bombers, and you're going to have airships. The airships are, for Germany, are called Zeppelins. Here, let's just go over there and take a look at one of them. Let's find a pointer here. There's one. You can hear Panzer King in the background there. He's a busy little beaver. We're just trying to get this all set up. So let's take a look at some of these units. This is all cool as hell. And notice the sculpts too. Now these two here, you know what? Let's stabilize this thing before I go any further. There we go. So these two here are a little bit different color, these seaplanes. That's because my seaplanes just arrived this week for this game. And they're not going to be ready until Saturday morning, the painting process. Like I looked at them tonight and I was gonna, I'll just push it, but every time I do that, it does not turn out very well. Like you got to be patient when you're painting, and you can see the effect that I'm trying to do. So this is the paint that I'm using here. But after I've washed it in this Varathane kind of stuff, that's what it looks like afterwards, and that's the effect that I was going for. You can see pretty good on here. Even units that you can't see it on, like that still happened here. It's not so shiny that the Germans, it's a dull color. Everybody in here is a really dull color, and that's what I was going for when I put this game together. But anyway, like I was saying, there's a lot of things that are the same. The terrain is the same. How you treat the terrain is the same. You know, like a city works exactly the same as a city in 1936, and mountains work exactly the same, and rivers. So many of the things are the same, but the things that are different in this game is the diplomacy. So obviously, like, the factions are different, right? And the borders are different. The factions, you've got the Central Powers, which are the Germans in gray, the Austro-Hungarians in green, and the Ottoman Empire down here in some kind of color that I probably have to make up a word for. I can't remember what it said on the can, but it didn't invoke anything for me. And then the other side is the Russians here, the British, the French, and that's it. Now there's the diplomacy in this game is much more complicated than in the 36 game, but it's more interesting. Like, it's not complicated in that you can't figure it out. I just mean that it's not cut and dry who fights for who. Right? Like, we don't know who China is going to fight with, who Japan is going to fight with. Japan can fight by themselves. They could be their own country or their own power, right? China is going to join somebody or join nobody. Italy, they could join the Central Powers. They could join the Allies. You know, and the same with the German, or sorry, Same with the Japanese and the Chinese. They could join either side. The Americans, they're not part of this yet, and when they get into it, it's very late. They can choose to be a part of the war or choose not to be a part of the war. Then there's, of course, the Russian Civil War, and that's something that that you actually play this. For those of you who played Axis and Allies 1914, like it's just, oh, something happened, so now the Russian Civil War happens, so you take all the Russian guys off, right? And that's the end of Russia for the game. But in this one, it's there's actually a civil war. There's like 5, 6 different factions, and I got all the different roundels and everything, and we're hoping to get to that on Sunday, where we prosecute the Russian Civil War. And different factions will be a part of it. Like the Russians will be the communists, I think. And I can't remember who's what, but Britain's and France and Germany, they all have a part in this Russian Civil War. And so I can't wait to get to that and see what that is all about. And what else? You can see that there's some things that are already on the cards. These are our reserves that go on. And here's the production chart over here. It's built right into the map. One thing that I was surprised about when I got the map this week was that there's only 2 stages on here. So that's kind of weird. Unless I'm looking at it wrong. That might, no, look at that. That's a 4 stage. Look at that. Look at, there's one here, one here, one here, and one here.
Oh, okay.
So we'll have to move some of those around. Yeah. We put them on the wrong ones. It looked like a 2-stage. That makes much more sense. 4 stages. Yeah. Last year it was a 6-stage one, and that was too much. It just, I don't know. Anyway, so this is going to be different if you've ever played a World War I game. Is having the Pacific involved in it, and it's not going to be as involved. But one of the things that we've done with this game is we have these cards here, and that's one way to get a little bit more action happening over here. Like here, these cards here, there's tons of them, right? So this one's Fall Winter 1916 East, and you'll find Fall Winter 1916 West. There'll be a bunch of them, I don't know, like 10, 12 of them, right? So what'll happen is when it's that turn on the calendar year, the Fall Winter turn of 1916, you'll pick 2 East cards and 2 West cards. Like you'll pick them at random, right? You won't be able to see them. They'll be flipped over like this, and you'll pick them at random. And those things will happen. So you just never know. Like it's just going to throw all kinds of monkey wrenches into the players here. But that's one way to get things happening over here. Like you can have, there's revolts. Like here's a food riot, you know. But there's revolts in a bunch of different colonies, right? So all of a sudden, a neutral infantry will pop up in that and fight right away. So if you've got 6 guys there already, then that's not a problem. You'll just beat them up, right? But if that territory you left it empty, then you just lost it because now it's going to be a neutral territory, right? But the other thing is this game, we're going to start it. There's 3 parts to the game. We're going to start it on the prequel. That starts in 1912 and not the summer of 1914. So it has its own cards as well, right? And so you'll pick out a 1912 West and a 1912 East card. And then there's 1913 as well. Like for each turn, the prequel, you only pick out 2 cards, right? 1 West and 1 East. So in the prequel, what happens is that these guys are going to fight. Now there's a bunch of different factions. There's the first Balkan War and the second Balkan War. And you'll fight it with these guys. And then whatever happens by the end of that, that's when you transfer these units back to the board. You can see where there's a big space there where there's no units, right? You'll transfer those to the board. Some of them might become neutrals, though. I'm not sure. We'll cross that bridge when we get here. The other thing is over here in Mexico, I think we're going to have to take those units off in Mexico over there. Yeah, because they're all on here now. So that's between the Germans and the British. They're actually not British; they're British controlled. But I didn't make up. I wasn't planning on playing the prequel here, so I didn't make any units up for that or anything. And one of the things that we're doing here, one of the reasons we're play testing this, one of the tasks that we have anyway, is to find out what is needed to play this game. Like I made this chart up here. These are all of the units in the game here. And so I've made a chart up here, and we're going to mark down how much stuff we use. And then I'm going to try to do another play test, maybe by myself at home, and do it again, and then kind of look and see how many infantry. Like this one, it'll just be Britain, right? And the next page would be France, and the next page be whoever, right? So trying to find out how much units you need. I think, and don't quote me on this, but I think what's going to happen is this game is going to be all inclusive. So when you buy the game, you're going to get the pieces. I don't know. I think that's what's going to happen, but I could be wrong. It could be that we're just putting together this list so people will know what to buy. We'll find out. We'll find out coming down the road here. But we've got all kinds of references here. Like here's the unit reference sheet. So you got militia or infantry militia. We have colonial troops as well. That's something that's brand new. Like it just came out. I didn't know about it. So there's these white chips here. So what I've done is just put the white chips on the map because I haven't made any sculpts up for that. Well, basically what they are is militia. They're exactly the same as like a militia here. The only difference is they're militia outside of your home country in one of your colonies. But they act the same. They attack and defend the same. You can upgrade them just like you can upgrade a militia if they're in the supply path, right? The facilities, they're for the most part the same, and the same facilities as the 1936 game. One of the really cool things is this chart over here, the diplomacy chart. So this, the diplomacy, like if you played diplomacy in the 1936 game, you know, it's pretty cool and everything, but this is even better. It's not just like, okay, I'm at stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, woohoo, they're mine, right? Here, like you'll see these roundels here, they're all these countries that are over here, right? And you can see which way they lean or whatever. So like you'll pick one, like you look on the map there, you see that Argentina's got a bunch of crap, right? Maybe Germany wants to go for them. So you try to roll a 1 to 3, right? And if you can, then you go to the first spot here, 1 to 3. And then what happens is that Germany can use their ports because they're at stage 1. So it's not just you're at stage 1, like you've moved to the point where you're friends enough with that nation, with Argentina, that they're letting you use their ports. And then if you roll another 1 to 3, Germany, then you get +1 IPP in trade. So as long as that country is worth at least 1 IPP, then you're going to get an IPP if it's in the supply path of, in this case, Germany, right? If it's worth 3 IPP, you still only get 1. Plus you get the ports open. And then the next stage, territory passage. So you can fly over top of the territory, you can drive through the territory. Although there's only really tanks that go to spaces and cavalry. So that's probably not going to happen that much. It's probably more likely that you're just flying over it. And then the next stage, of course, is they become German. So you take the Argentinians off the board and you replace them with Germans, right? Just like in the 36 game. But that's a lot more interesting way of playing this than just having it stage 1, stage 2, stage 3. Like you get more and more of a benefit the closer friends you become with them. And so like if Germany was going up there, then okay, Britain wants to roll. So then if they get a 1 to 3, then it goes back down again. Like it gets further from being German, right? And also you can do a lateral move. So they can come over here, and then the Austrians can come up, as long as you're on the same side, right? So there's that. Let's just take a look at one of the boxes of units here. Let's take a look at France. That's a cool one. So in this game, the dominant weapon in World War I was artillery, right? So you got the regular artillery sculpt here, right? But we've also got, and these aren't out yet, these are a prototype that we're using for the play tests, heavy artillery. So they'll be +1, right? Like I think artillery in this game is 4, not 3 like the other game. And then the other one would be 5. Because artillery is the dominant weapon in this game, right? And then you've got observation balloons, so you could kick that up a notch. Like I've got the magnets on them, so they're flying. Tanks are not really dominant. And the other thing is tanks, they cannot go through mountains. So like they can't even move in mountains. What they can do is get on the railroad and move, you know, from one place to another. But really, they're almost useless in this game, and that is by design because they were almost useless in World War I. Like up there where the Western Front is going to be, and there's a blow-up box of the Western Front over there, not a lot of mountains. So that's where the tanks would be used, and in World War I, that's where the tanks were used, right? They were used to just bust through trenches. I don't want to talk too much because we're getting tired. We're going to be starting this game in the morning. Panzer King and I, we got a couple of guests coming from parts unknown. At a total combined weight of 112 pounds. They're small guys. Anyway, a couple other guys coming. So we don't know how the teams are going to break down or anything. But I'm going to put this video out tonight. And the next video, like, I'll film all day tomorrow. And I don't like to do live stuff. So I'm going to film all day tomorrow and put out a video Friday night, put out a video Saturday night, put out a video Sunday night. And we should be done by then. So, say hello, Panzer King.
Hello.
You're supposed to say hello, Panzer King. Anyway, take care, everyone. We'll see you tomorrow.